Welcome to the Know Before You Go Travel Show, where we share all the latest travel tips, tricks, and insights to make your next vacation the best one yet. So sit back, relax, grab a cocktail, and enjoy the show with Penyak Travel's George Penyak and our senior travel consultant, Janet Penyak.
What is up, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back to another edition of the Know Before You Go Travel Show, and we've got a show for you today, my friends.
Travel news show.
Travel news and updates for the week of July 26th.
Yes.
It is Sunday fun day for us. And it's raining.
Well, hopefully it'll stop.
We had a good weekend.
Yeah, we had a great weekend.
Hung out with some friends on the boat, cruised around the coast. Good times.
Very nice.
Social distance.
Yes.
Please, what you do right now.
That is what you have to do right now because we are still in the midst of crazy COVID.
You know what? I saw news. Speaking of news, Americans are still spending about the same on per vacation as they were pre-COVID, but they're just traveling more domestically.
Right.
They said, I read an article that 2020, the average family is spending about $3,900 total on trips, which is about what they spent in 2019.
But there's probably less people traveling, though.
Of course, yeah, there probably is, for sure. And some are still, actually, a lot are still traveling internationally. I think you're just seeing a little more domestically than what we probably obviously saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I talked to one of my clients this week, and he said he would love to go somewhere and love to go, on a nice tropical vacation out of the country like he usually does, but he's afraid that he gets somewhere and then gets sick and then he's stuck. So that's what he's afraid of, and I do understand that.
Yeah, and we're about to go to Antigua.
We are going to Antigua on August 6th. So what is that, like
coming up in like a couple
10 days
weeks.
or something?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. We'll have a great video of that. Very excited about that. Speaking of videos, we just got our Unico video on YouTube. We have about a 10-minute video out there. Just posted it yesterday. It shows everything from what the food is like, what the accommodations are like, what it was like traveling during COVID. We have a lot of pictures and videos of where we had to put masks on, where we didn't have to put masks on. Where they took temperature checks, the whole nine. So check that out on YouTube, and we would love a subscribe there and also a follow on Facebook or Instagram, and we love you guys so much.
Or both.
Or both, and obviously subscribe to the podcast. But
yes.
We've got some people hitting us up. We had already on our Unico video on YouTube, James O'Neill, thank you so much for checking out the podcast. He checked out the podcast after seeing the video, so thank you so much. We've also had
Intervivos on Instagram.
Love hearing from him.
Yes,
sent to the DMs. He was an avid Sandals traveler, so we love interacting with him. He's always sharing some great information with us on his travels as well. We are avid Sandals travelers as well because we're going there in a couple weeks.
We are going, like I said, to Sandals Antigua on August 6th. So we have our COVID test scheduled. That is coming up. It is required you have a COVID test within 7 days. And one thing I want to mention with this, because there are other islands that require it too, like St. Lucia is a big one. But if you have the COVID test within 7 days, so you can't do, like, we're leaving on a Thursday, we can't do that test on the Thursday before. They count it on that, it would have to start on that Friday. So just make sure you're within that window. So we are getting our COVID test on Friday. Not looking forward to it, but it'll be worth it as long as it comes back negative.
Yeah, I mean, neither of us have symptoms. We would never travel with symptoms.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm assuming we're good, but, they say that you can be asymptomatic. So we'll see. Knock on wood, we're fine. Obviously, we don't want to put anyone at risk. So if we ever have symptoms, or obviously if you come back positive,
right? Yeah, we're not. We wouldn't go. Right.
Going to be staying.
But it's required in order for us to travel there. So we are getting it done, and then hopefully all goes well, and we'll be on our way.
If one of us gets it, you're getting isolated to the upstairs.
No,
if you get it, I'm saying I'm keeping the master.
No.
I'm not sleeping upstairs if you get COVID.
Well, I don't care.
It's your fault.
No. Okay, you can sleep out here in my office.
I'm kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be nice.
I get all the animals, though.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we got some travel news, right?
Yeah, so speaking of, just the Caribbean travel in general, just a couple of updates. Jamaica no longer requires a COVID test before you go, but they can test you on arrival. So they're definitely opening up for more tourism, so that's a great sign. Love Jamaica, one of our favorite spots.
Yeah, and I think what you're going to see too, and we saw this at the airport in Mexico, is you're going to see more and more of these kind kind of remote distance temperature checks where
Right.
you're walking through the airport security line and you'll have like this thing scanning your body temperature from far away. And I think obviously if you're scanning high, they may pull you to a side and you may have to do a COVID test like that. We saw that in Mexico. I think that's good because then that helps keep other travelers safe. And I don't know what the protocol is. I have no idea if you were to come back with the temperature, what happens if you can fly. I don't know. I highly doubt that you wouldn't be able to fly. I bet they're
going to take you and probably quarantine you.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like that's the unknown. But yeah, obviously, if you have a temperature, just don't travel. That's
right.
I think that's everyone can take their own temperature and just be smart about it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, other big news: the Bahamas was open. And they were open for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And then they have shut down again to Americans. So U.S. citizens can only travel there, or you cannot travel there via a commercial airline or commercial flight
vessel.
or a commercial vessel. So
but
basically, if you're rich and you can fly private or charter a private boat, the Bahamas will welcome you with open arms.
If you have a private jet or a private boat.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That's right. So that's kind of disappointing, but, obviously.
Hey, Bezos, come pick us up.
This is a very fluid situation. Everything changes all the time.
Yeah, that's why we're doing these travel news and updates because I think it just comes out every day almost. Like Bahamas was open, now it's closed to us, and now Jamaica's like, hey, no COVID test required, but you might if you show symptoms. So it's ever changing. And again, I think I said it on one of the last podcasts. I really feel that it's going to be island by island because their medical facilities are much different than what we have in the States. They're very limited capacity.
Right.
You can't have half the population on an island getting sick there. They just don't have the hospital beds.
Right.
Here we have a lot more hospital beds. We have a lot more resources. And, it's just different. So I understand why these islands are kind of changing it up on us, and it's going to vary island by island, which is like, oh man, I wish the Caribbean would just do one thing.
Yeah,
but I understand, right?
Yeah, no. So it is hard to keep up with, but this is why we're doing these updates for you guys. So another island, Barbados, which we were supposed to be going to Barbados in a few weeks, but we have pushed that to September, and then we were originally supposed to go to Antigua in May, and that had been moved to September. Then now it's in August.
Yeah.
So our travel plans have been crazy mixed up this year too, but
this is COVID. This is the new until we get and we're close to a vaccine. I'm hearing,
yeah.
So that would help too. I think I did see too on separate from travel news. I did see that the U.S. government has struck a deal with Pfizer to purchase 100 million doses of the vaccine that's in the human testing trial. Now, obviously, it has to be approved by the FDA and everything before it gets out there. But there's 100 million pre-ordered. Should this pass human testing and stuff, with another order pending of 500 million, where it would give everyone the option of the vaccine for free, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I do
that's
think
what gets us through this.
I was going to say, I do think that will be what gets us on the other side. But I think I say this every podcast. I remember us sitting here in March and April being like, well, if this is still going on during the summer, I mean, the world must be ending.
No, I know.
And there have been times where I still think that maybe that is the case. But
I think we're coming out. I think
we'll see.
We have definitely plateaued. I just don't see how it can get any worse because I think everyone's doing a much better job wearing the masks. Everyone is being a little more cognizant of it. So I'm just a little more optimistic that we've at least kind of plateaued, and hopefully here in the next few weeks we start seeing the downward trend.
Yes, I hope
that
so.
would be good. So,
but as of Barbados, I was going to say we kind of got off on a little tangent there.
Sorry, there. Yeah, I was dropping the Pfizer news that I heard. Yeah.
So they are open. And they're open to U.S. travelers, but not only do you have to have the negative COVID test before you go, but when you get there, you have to quarantine for 7 days in a government facility, or they have like specific resorts that you can go to quarantine for 7 days. So I don't really think then that that would be a place that an American would go right now.
Yeah, unless you have like your own property there, right? Like I think
right.
If you have your own property there, you're going for a couple months, then yeah, if you're retired, then that makes sense.
But I mean, you have to go and sit in a quarantine facility for a week before you can even then, I mean, that's like a long time to take off work.
That's the thing. It's it's unrealistic if you're going for a resort or vacation, but I think if you have property there and you own property there, so be it. I mean,
Right.
you'll go and do whatever. But.
Yeah, so we'll see. That'll be interesting to see if that changes and see what happens there. But, we are supposed to be going to the Sandals Barbados. And then big news about Sandals, too, just speaking on them, because if you've been an avid listener, we do love their resorts because we love adults-only vacations and we love all-inclusive in the Caribbean. And we do
love good service, too.
Yes. And they just bought a resort in St. Vincent, on the island of St. Vincent.
It's big news.
Yeah, big news. It's a new destination for them. Honestly, it's not. St. Vincent really isn't a very big tourist destination. It is, but like the resorts that are there, there's just not that many of them.
Yeah, for sure.
And so they bought it. The property was called the Buckamint Bay Resort and Spa, and it closed in 2016. So they purchased that, and they are supposed to be opening a beaches resort there. I'm sure it'll be several years, but pretty big news and pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be the fourth Beaches in the portfolio.
Yes.
And we've stayed at all of them, and Beaches is a great brand for families. Phenomenal brand for families. We highly, highly recommend it. And we had a blast. We stayed at Turks last year, Beaches, Turks, and Caicos, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I would totally go back. We don't have kids, I would go back.
Oh, yeah. No, I love that resort.
How would you, and they're all good, right? But how would you rank if you had to rank the beaches? I think I got a ranking in my mind. Like if you had, like, say money wasn't an option, because they obviously rank in price, right? Like Turks is the most expensive, or price the highest, and then maybe one of the Jamaican options are a little bit less.
Right.
I would rank Turks at the top.
Yeah, overall, I would definitely put Turks at the top. If you go back and listen to our episode, it's been like a year and a half since we stayed there last, and I was there in December. I would say, though, I don't like the Caribbean Village or the French Village. I think they need to be updated. So
that's true. You have to be picky with the room choice.
Yeah,
you have to know what you're getting here.
Right. If you,
hashtag use travel agent.
So if you can't, splurge and go for some of the more updated rooms like the Italian Village, Key West, or the Seaside Village, then maybe do something at Beaches Negril, which I love. Beaches Negril, those two resorts, they're very different, 'cause Beaches Negril is like a quarter of the size of Turks and Caicos, but I would say that would be my second, and then Ochi would be my last.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
I'd agree. I like, definitely Turks is number one for sure. And then the other two are close, but I do like Negril at 2.
Yes.
And then Ochi at 3.
Yes.
But I mean, honestly, between Negril and Ochi, it's a lot closer. Like, that's a little bit closer for me. Turks is like a clear number one. If money's not
absolutely.
an issue.
You
just can't beat the beach.
Oh yeah, no. And
Negril's got
I was just saying Negril. That beach there is amazing.
I guess it's the color of the water. You can't beat that. The white sand and the turquoise beautiful water that they have. It's gorgeous.
It's absolutely beautiful. And one thing, just I'm sure you might be wondering, oh well, why do you think Beaches Ochi is last? I haven't been there in a few years. It's probably been 4 years since I've been there. And just the last time I was there, I just thought that it needed to be updated.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you're still going to get great service. I mean, it's not like...
Right.
When we rank these, like, if it has bad service, we'll let you know. But so far, I mean, all three of those are going to deliver phenomenal service. I think that's the biggest differentiator in a lot of Sandals properties, because you can expect great service. You're going to expect great food. It's like, hey, do you want an updated room? How many dining options do you have? There's a lot of variables there outside of service. We won't really recommend places that have bad service.
No, I'll tell you.
We're not gonna send a client and put the Penyak Travel brand behind bad service. Just not happening.
No, it's not happening. Now, Ocho Rios, where that Beaches Ochi is a great part of the island, especially if you're a very active traveler and you like to do a lot of adventure type activities. Ocho Rios is a great side of the island to be on.
100%.
So, now we're kind of getting off on a tangent here on beaches.
We got to get back to travel news.
Yes, so a little bit more travel news. So in regards to cruising, so Carnival Corporation, which they own and operate under several different lines, Carnival, Princess, Holland America, P&O Cruises.
They're so much bigger than just Carnival.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people think it's just Carnival ships. Like, no, they have their hands in a lot of brands. They own them all.
Yeah. Now, Holland America sold 4 ships, the Amsterdam, the Maasdam, Rotterdam, and Veendam. And it was like one of I think I have I have 3 remaining cruise bookings for the year. One of those was on those ships, and they had already paid in full, like they were ready to go, but that's canceled.
Yeah. But the Vendôme, I think I went on the Vendôme when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
That was my first cruise, the Holland America. That's where I had the steak issue where I ate a whole ramekin full of horseradish.
Horseradish that he thought was rice.
Raw horseradish, thought it was rice, nearly vomited my face off at the formal night of all places in front of all these people I didn't know, because back then they would put you in with a lot of families you didn't know.
They still will do that.
Yeah, if you want a group table. Yeah, we were at the group table, and it wasn't pretty because I thought it was rice. I had this beautiful big ribeye. I was about to crush it. And then I was so hungry. I was like, oh, ramekin of rice. And it looked just like rice, but it was horseradish in the raw form. And it burned. It was disgusting. To this day, untouchable for me. Won't touch it. Never touching horseradish again. People love it. I don't like it. I don't like it on anything.
He can detect the smallest amount in any sort of sauce.
Oh, if there's a sauce like a mustard or something, and they like at a restaurant they bring it to me, I'll dip my fork in it and take a little drop. Like, yep, it's in there. Get it out of here. Get it out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Got the finger there. Rambling.
Put the finger wheel down. Let's go.
Okay.
Got the finger there. That sounds horrible. God.
I guess that does sound bad, but
you need to watch what you say. This is a family-friendly
okay,
podcast.
you know what I mean. Anyways.
I know, you're doing the little spin wheel, like, shut up.
Yeah, like, move on. You're rambling.
I'm shutting up.
So, in other Carnival news, Carnival sold the Carnival Fantasy and the Carnival Inspiration, which the Fantasy is kind of big news because that was docked in, if you're from South Carolina and you've been on a Carnival cruise out of Charleston, which a lot of people have from the Carolinas, the Carnival Fantasy was the ship that was docked here for many years.
Yeah.
And so they have sold it. So
yeah, and that one I was like, but that ship was smaller. I think a lot of these ships they're getting rid of are smaller and dated, where they don't want to invest the money to upgrade it, and it probably makes more business sense to sell them. They had done some upgrades to the Fantasy, but in my opinion, it wasn't enough to justify keeping it in the portfolio, because now I think consumer expectations have gone up so much. Like, you have expectations of big, grand, beautiful, brand new ships, and this is pre-COVID here. Like, it was a race to have the most innovative ship, and it will always be that way. But I think when you look at these ships that once were very innovative, and if you're not willing to reinvest in them and at least get the amenities and restaurant options up, not many people are going to book it. You're just going to have to keep dropping the price, or you're going to have to make the investment to justify a higher price. And I think they made those decisions, especially with COVID happening, kind of made those decisions a lot easier. Yeah.
So speaking of just cruises again, Princess Cruises, which is they also operate under the Carnival umbrella. So they have canceled all sailings until mid-December. That was just recently announced. And then the CDC extended the no sail order through September 30th, which previously was extended through September 15th. Now it's September 30th. And I have been asked, do I think cruises will sail again this year? I mean, if you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have said yes, but I find it hard to believe that they will sail this year.
I think it's a maybe.
I think it'll come back, if I had to guess, in the spring. That's what I think. I think it'll be more than a year without cruises, which is crazy.
Potentially, yeah. I think there's still a shot. I think watching the death count and watching, like, you just have to see how this plays out. We're at a critical point. We're just past the halfway point of the year. Right. And it's like, well, how are we doing right now? How are other countries doing that maybe were a little bit before us? Are they improving? And then how close are we to a vaccine? I think that's the big.
Well, and I think one of the biggest things holding them up too, just in general, obviously cruises, you can pretty much cruise all around the world. But in just speaking the Caribbean, a lot of the islands have so many different protocols for entry.
It's just
that
challenging.
It just makes it very challenging. But I will tell you, we like being guinea pigs. So when the cruise lines do open back up, finally, we will go and we will report it to you.
We'll document everything. We'll videotape it. We'll show you exactly what it's like. Because honestly, as travel professionals, with our agency, and we do this with our agents too, we encourage you have to get out and experience this, because that's really the best way to be able to help people.
Right.
And it's hard to just kind of learn on the fly, but learning by doing is so much better.
Yes.
And so we'll do it. We'll jump in there, and it'll be very fascinating to see. And I've been reading up on the new cleanliness standards that each cruise line's going through. They're saying that cruising, it was either the CMO of one of them, it was Royal Caribbean or Carnival, said that cruising, when it comes back, will be the cleanest way to travel, is what they're saying.
I believe it.
I mean, the standards, and they were already, to be honest, pre-COVID with all the hand sanitizer everywhere.
Because we just went in December on a cruise.
Super clean.
And it was very clean. And one thing I love that they used to not have, but before you go and enter the buffet, they have a hand washing station, and they had that Jamaican guy
singing and dancing.
Singing and dancing. A song about how, making sure everybody wash your hands. And he would tell you, no, wash your hands before you enter. So, I think that they were already fairly clean. Some people might disagree with me on that, but I think so.
I think pre-COVID, cruises were the cleanest way to travel. Like, when you compare it to your average airline, average train, rental cars, hotels, everything, cruises were the cleanest.
I was going to say, because they were
the cleanest.
They're obviously always very worried about the norovirus. So, I mean, yeah, and we've never gotten sick on a cruise ship. So,
never. I mean, maybe just from too many glasses of wine at the bar, but
yeah, I don't know.
We're not that bad.
Yeah, no, but I think that it's not going to come back for a while, but when it does, we'll be there and we'll test it out and we'll tell you guys how it is.
Yeah, and we can't wait for it to come back. I definitely think the industry will come back very strong.
I think it's going to take it a couple years, but
we disagree on this. I think next year, I mean, if there's a vaccine. And we've, just like every pandemic...
But I think a lot of people aren't going to want to take the vaccine right away.
I agree, but I think there's some... Listen, I'm not a doctor by far, but I've read and I've heard that there is a certain percentage of people, once a certain percentage of the population gets the vaccine, then it completely diminishes off the risk of spreading. You know what I mean? If you have a certain percentage of the population that becomes immune to it, then it can't grow like it is, and then it just falls away, just like other pandemics have. Other pandemics have left, and we haven't done the vaccine. I think the vaccine kind of accelerates it.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. If you're a doctor, DM me. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I'm okay with that. Janet tells me I'm wrong all the time. So.
Yes, I do. No problem at all. Moving on. So, all of the airlines reported their second quarter losses.
This is bad news. I don't like talking about that.
No, I know, but it's very interesting, and I feel like it kind of helps, form a picture of holy crap, like, how much this has affected the travel industry. And they say, 1 out of every 10 people in America is employed some way
through an airline.
Through just tourism.
Tourism, yeah.
So
and that's vendors, that's like people that sell cookies to the airline and the drinks, and there's everyone in hospitality. I mean, I would maybe even higher than 1 in 10. And
I think I might have said that wrong. I think I said 1 in 10 Americans, just 1 in 10 people in general around the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. 100%.
So United Airlines lost, their net loss for the second quarter was $1.6 billion. And then American Airlines was $2.1 billion. And then Delta fared the worst by a lot, $5.7 billion.
Yeah, and so and you have people on both sides, like, let them fail. And then you have people like, no, you have to support the airlines. And I think what we forget about airlines is, although people might not fly for tourism reasons, the airlines serve a purpose of getting important people to places. You have doctors that need to be places.
Yeah.
You have lawyers that need to travel. You have government officials. You have people that use commercial airlines to keep people alive and to transport goods and services.
Well, and just businesses, in general.
And American, Delta, some of these commercial airlines, they're one of the biggest transportators of actually mail and things like that. You wouldn't think it, but they actually load other things on those planes.
You said transportators.
Transporters, whatever. Where did I come up with that?
I have no idea. It's okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about. But you know what I mean. Like they actually haul so many other things than just your bags and yourself. And they serve an absolute critical purpose. They just, in America, it's a private business. It's not ran by the government. So it's a balance, right?
It's regulated by the government, though.
It's regulated, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot is, but So.
Yeah, so they did have also report their passenger revenue. So revenue that was brought in from people booking tickets and things like that. Now, a lot of those are out into the future, but American Airlines came on top with $1.1 billion in future travel. And I think, just my personal opinion on why that is because they are the largest operator to the Caribbean and Mexico and tropical destinations. So I think that's a big help there. Now, United Airlines came in second with $681 million in revenue. And then Delta Airlines, poor Delta, they are definitely struggling. $678 million. They came in last, close to United, but they're just last in all of these.
Oh, that's so brutal. I hope for a quick recovery. And I also have been reading too, and on our next news podcast, our next news update podcast next week, I'll bring the actual data with me. But 2021 bookings are looking very strong. There's a lot of people booking in 2021. I think you have a lot of pent-up travel demand for those that stayed domestic or stayed close to home. I think everyone wants a change of scenery, and I think you're going to see that in 2021. And with just about 7 or 5 months left in this year, that's a long time for us to recover from this, a long time for the airlines to recover. I think 2021 is going to be a very good year and a very safe year for the industry because I think everyone's going to be in a lot safer, cleaner atmosphere.
Yeah, and just speaking to 2021 really quick, if you do have a trip that you had planned, like let's just say I had several people that were, booked for escorted tours over in Europe or in the Pacific Northwest in Canada, you need to go ahead and look at getting your trip rescheduled for 2021 because all the people that were going to go this year that are rebooking for next year already. And so things are selling out a lot quicker than normal. So
yes, when we're seeing that too on our end, people
absolutely. So go ahead, get your trip on the books for 2021.
Yes, and little Penyak travel plug here. If you're loving the information, feel free to hit us up for a trip. We can book anything, pretty much anything, anywhere, just about.
Yeah, and we do not charge any fees for our services.
Free service. And for those loyal listeners, I'm sure you guys are aware of that, so you guys already know. But we have new listeners all the time. It's literally one of the fastest growing travel podcasts on the internet, which is crazy to me, honestly, how we started this 2 years ago. It takes time, right? 2 years, a long time. But
so slide into our DMs or go to our website, penyaktravel.com. You can submit a quote request there, and it comes directly to me, my email, or email me directly, janet@penyaktravel.com. Or lastly, our phone number, 800-674-3278.
And a couple items before we wrap up, though, on good news for good travel news here. Good news for the Los Angeles to Las Vegas high-speed train project. So this is a project that's been going on for a little while now.
Which is really cool. I didn't even know this was in the works.
Yeah, and so I think with COVID, it got up in the air whether it's going to actually start and be completed. But what's really cool is the Nevada State Board of Finance just approved $200 million in bonds for the company that is going to be building this thing. And it's 170 miles from Vegas to L.A. That train can get you there in 90 minutes.
And no traffic, so that's cool.
And honestly, you can't even get anywhere L.A. to L.A. in 90 minutes.
I wonder where the proposed train station would be in Vegas. Like, would it be near the Strip?
I'm sure it would be. I got to look up more information about it. Probably near the convention center. It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Very smart of them to run it there. I'm sure I'll have to look at the master plans, but I'll do that for our next one. I'll do an update on that. But it is approved. It is going to continue to move forward, which is good. And I think that's cool because I think high-speed train travel is something that we should be doing here in the United States. I think it gives another way to get around. It moves people faster and better.
Yeah, and it's like you can hop on a train anywhere in Europe, but not here.
Yeah, I think the Northeast are very popular, but in the Southeast and the Midwest and out west, not many people travel by train.
Yeah,
which I think it's cool if we're advancing that technology. And we were on a high-speed train in Europe, and it was fun.
In France.
Yeah, we had a blast. We went from Bordeaux to Paris, right?
Bordeaux to Paris, yep.
Awesome.
It was neat seeing the countryside, yeah. It really was.
Great experience. It went about 200 miles per hour, I think, roughly.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was fast. Yeah.
It was so much fun.
So what's your question of the day?
Ready for question of the day. Question of the day.
Oh, my God.
I got to come up with a new...
Yeah, intro for that?
Yeah, okay. And this was not from a listener. This is just from myself.
From you. Okay.
If you were a superhero, what would your superpowers be if you had one superpower?
One superpower.
As a superhero. This has nothing to do with travel.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably something like I could go back in time for a little bit. Like go back to certain moments in life.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, just like relive the moment.
Relive the moment.
But then, you know, transport back to present day.
You want to come back? Yeah, please come back. Don't leave me.
Yeah. So I think that would be cool.
That would be cool to go back in time. That would be cool.
Yeah. What would yours be?
Yeah, you grow up watching all these superheroes with powers and stuff. You got Spider-Man, you got Batman.
I mean, it'd also be cool if like I could fly.
I'm going to go with flying.
I mean, even though I hate flying, but it would be cool.
Fly fast.
Yeah. But, you know, like fly like a bird.
Yeah, underneath the airlines. I don't want to get up there with those guys.
Yeah,
I don't want to
no.
get anyone's way.
Yeah, just like, you know, a seagull.
Give me like 100 good feet. Like 100 feet off the ground, just zipping around with fly.
Right.
Then I'll never book a trip again.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
just
a good
fly
one.
There.
There you
Fly
go.
myself. I'll put you on my back, so that works for both of us.
Put the team on your back.
Put the team on my back.
All right,
Anyway,
well, I think that is the show.
that's a show. We love you guys. Again, if you need anything else, you know where to find us.
Thanks for listening.
Love you guys.